Our first storyteller, a clumsy Kentucky girl, let me figure this out. A clumsy Kentucky woman is determined to go surfing with her California boyfriend, but struggles to put on her wetsuit. Please welcome Lia Garcia with her story, HangTen.
I had just moved to California from Kentucky, and I had started dating a walking California stereotype. Jeremy was tall and blonde with these piercing green eyes, and he was also sweet and charming and kind, a total package and nothing like any of the guys I dated before in Kentucky. As we were getting to know one another, Jeremy would tell me stories in his Valley Girl accent about his childhood growing up in California, which to me sounded like something out of the OC or Laguna Beach. And I would tell him stories about my childhood growing up on a farm in Kentucky, which sounded like something out of the Dukes of Hazzard. Jeremy told me about late-night bonfires on the beach with his friends, and I told him about sneaking out of my mom's house to go to the gas station 4 miles down the road. He told me about Rusty, the harbor seal, who he would wave to every morning on his way to school. And I told him about Daisy, our goat, who I tried to pet once. She attacked me. But I think my favorite story that Jeremy told me was about the first time he ever went surfing. He was sitting on his surfboard, watching the waves roll in on a secluded beach, and suddenly a dolphin popped up from beside him in the water to say hello, like fucking Flipper. So when he offered to teach me how to surf, I didn't think twice. I said, yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, here I was in California doing the most California thing ever. What could be more amazing? So I didn't think at all about it until we were in the car to drive 4 hours down to the Central Coast, and then it hit me that I didn't know anything about surfing. I'd seen it on TV a lot, and it seemed really cool, but it dawned on me that there actually might be some element of athleticism or perhaps balance required. And those are things I do not possess. I'm more the type of person who falls over while she's trying to stand still. So as we drove down to Morro Bay, the anxiety was growing in my stomach, but I didn't want to tell Jeremy my concerns because he's sweet and he would just be worried about me. And I also didn't want to admit to myself that maybe I wasn't exactly cut out for surfing and California in general. Finally, we arrive in Morro Bay, and we go to the surf shop, and working behind the counter is a guy who is actually more Californian than my boyfriend, which I didn't know was possible. He and my boyfriend start talking surf shop, and saying things like, it's crunchy out there, bruh. And I don't know what that means, but it sounds delicious, so I'm in. And I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that there are different sizes and types of surfboards when the guy behind the counter hands me a size medium wetsuit. Size medium. I mean, like, I love my body, but let's be realistic here. But I don't know anything about surfing, and I've never worn a wetsuit, so I take the thing and I go into the dressing room. And I just want to point out that I'm a very strong, confident, body-positive, self-loving woman, but after 40 minutes of trying to fit myself into a piece of rubber the size of my pinky, I have never felt less confident in my life. I can feel my California sails deflating a little bit, and I swallow my pride and ask for a larger size. And as I shrug on the men's size extra large, I am resigning myself to this experience. Our next challenge is to get our surfboards to the actual ocean. And I'm looking at the beach, and this is a very long way. And it turns out that surfboards are actually really heavy. They kind of look like they were just made out of plastic, but I guess not. So I can't pick the thing up, and I'm trying to get it across the beach, and I'm tugging on it. There's like a leash thing, and I'm sort of pushing it, and I'm kicking at it, and it's not working. And sweet Jeremy comes over and picks it up like it's nothing, carries one surfboard under each arm down to the ocean. And I'm feeling a little bit helpless and weak. Not my best. So we finally make it to the edge of the water, and it's time for the actual surf lesson. Jeremy demonstrates how you go from lying on your stomach on the surfboard to standing, and it's this sort of magical thing where you like jump up in the air and just levitate, and then suddenly you're squatting. And I don't get it at all. But after one half-successful attempt where I don't fall over, Jeremy encourages me to try it in the actual ocean. So we go into the ocean. And to get from the beach to where the waves are breaking, I think that it's going to be swimming, which I'm okay with because I'm actually a pretty good swimmer. But it turns out that in surfing, you don't use your legs at all because you're on the surfboard. So you're really just supposed to be paddling your arms a lot for a very long time. And as you're paddling your arms, waves are pushing you back into shore, and freezing cold water is splashing in your face. So 40 minutes of doing this later, my eyes are stinging from the salt, my face is numb because it's freezing, and my arms are exhausted. I haven't even tried to catch a single wave, and I'm already ready to give up. And that's when I see it. Rising about 3 feet above my head is a frothy white wave. And in that wave, I spy a tiny little yellow blob. And I look at it, and it looks at me, and it waves one tiny little tentacle menacingly in my general direction. And I realize that it's not alone. There is a jellyfish armada headed directly for my face, and I flip the fuck out. I jump off my surfboard, I start flailing my way back to shore, I'm shrieking my head off, I'm swallowing salt water. All of the other surfers in the water turn to look at me, thinking that I've seen a shark, which it occurs to me that there could be sharks. I never thought of that before. I'm not getting anywhere because there's a freaking anchor tied to my leg. And Jeremy comes over and rescues me. He takes the ankle thingy off of my leg and frees me, and I take off like a shot back to the beach. I'm trying to calm myself down and take deep breaths. Jeremy emerges from the water carrying one surfboard under each arm, looking like Aquaman. And he sits down next to me, and he puts his arm around me, and he explains patiently and kindly that there are many kinds of jellyfish in the world, and this was a friendly jelly. Apparently, these are the sorts of things that they teach you in California public school. They didn't cover that in Kentucky. So I'm trying to stop crying and take deep breaths, and I explain to him it wasn't the jellyfish, and it wasn't surfing, and it wasn't the wetsuit, although fuck the wetsuit. It was just this whole thing, just being out of my comfort zone and trying something totally new and frankly something that I wasn't really physically capable of doing. And I told him, you know, I'm glad I tried, but I kind of don't want to do it anymore. And Jeremy was incredibly understanding. He suggested that I just get in the water and swim next to him. And I like swimming, so I did. That was what we did for the rest of the afternoon, and we actually had a lot of fun. But I realized after that trip that I didn't like the feeling of being helpless and being weak. I didn't like how tired my arms got and that I couldn't pick up the surfboard and that I couldn't treadmill in the ocean for 40 minutes straight. And I decided to do something about it. I did pick up a sport. It was not surfing. It was powerlifting. So now I'm still clumsy and I still fall over when I try to stand still, but I'm really strong. And as for Mr. California Dreamboat, we have been together now for 5 years, and we are married. And it turns out that he actually really sucks at surfing. We've been together for 5 years, and I've never seen him catch a single wave. But it's okay, because I haven't either. Thank you.